is with you.
And also with you.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
At that time, Jesus exclaimed, I give praise to you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth. For although you have hidden things from the wise and the learned, you have revealed them to the little ones. Yes, Father, such has been your gracious will. All things have been handed over to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and anyone to whom the Son wishes to reveal him. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. The Gospel of Jesus Christ.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
There are 80 million children in America today. 80 million from birth until the age of 18. And they were all raised. And you think about it, like, what do we really want for our children? What do we want to teach them? What do we want them to know? You know, so we could say, oh, we want them to be safe, or we want them to be good kids. We want them to study. We want them to learn. You know, and so a lot of this is a lot of like outside in. A lot of us when we grew up, but kids today, it's outside in. And it's interesting, there was a Greek, ancient Greece philosopher, Perdorcus something. I think his first name was Dave or something. He said that, you know, when you look at children aren't vessels that you pour water into. Children are like candles that need to be lit. They need to be lit from within. So when you think of like what we really need to teach children is self-awareness, to be tuned into what they're feeling and what they're thinking. Last Friday we saw the movie Inside Out, where this girl Riley she's in Minneapolis and she has to move to San Francisco. And she's sad about that, and her mom tells her not to be sad because Daddy feels bad about being transferred. And the movie sort of shows that sadness was being kicked out and wasn't allowed to be felt. And things started to unravel as the movie went on in the cartoon of it. And then once she realized to allow herself to cry over the loss and the grieving of her friends and her home, and she played hockey in Minnesota. And then they all cried because they really all felt sad. They were trying to pretend to be happy. But once they were allowed to feel their feelings and experience the sadness, then you get on the other side of sadness. When you look at a transformational griever, the idea is to cry and cry and cry and cry and feel that. And then eventually you start to then get on the other side of the grieving, you get on the other side of the loss. But you first have to be able to acknowledge what you're feeling. And so oftentimes, like when it comes to kids, we're not doing a good enough job of allowing these kids to feel what they're feeling and to pay attention to and to be aware of that. Now, in a lot of ways, we're those kids too, right? Because we grew up where, you were told what to do, probably even more so. I've had clients where they were in their 50s and they didn't know how to make a decision about buying a car because all the decisions was always made for that person. And so they never really developed that ability. We were kidding around before about our adult children where, like Rachel, she'll take a half a cup of coffee, put it in the sink, and then that's it, and you're like, well, what's your awareness of that? Like, how do you, like, and I like to like go through it, like, let's do this. Let's put the cup in there. Now let's walk away. What are we thinking about there? Nothing, right? And now let's go with the exercise of, let's take the coffee cup, let's pour it out. Let's rinse it out. Let's put some little detergent in there. Oh, how much did that take? 45 seconds, right? I mean, it's like so to become self-aware, this is what I want to talk about. Becoming self-aware. Now, if you stop for a second, we do this sometimes here, is get a sense of yourself being here. What you're seeing. What are you feeling? Are you tired? Are you hungry? Tired? Somebody's alarm went off. How's the alarm going off at 5 after 10? But to be aware of what I'm feeling. That's the beginning of it. I want to have a sense of like, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? Now, another part of self-awareness is I want to be aware that the way I see something, I'm thinking a certain thought, but I've got to also be aware of that might not be true. So there's a thing called perception through which I see the world. Now, when someone thinks that the way I think and the way I see is absolutely the way it is, they don't question their thinking, they don't question the way they see things, those people are called unconscious. There's no awareness of I think and then I see something. The other day, I know I said this before, so I was playing golf, and they always have these markers at a certain spot, and for some reason the other day, they put the marker way back where we're supposed to tee off from. So I pulled up to where they normally are, and it's black and blue, and the color it's hard. If you're not really paying attention, if you're not aware, So I went first, and then this guy followed me. He's like totally Mr. Negative. So we're out of the hole. I mean, you can't, once you tee off from the wrong spot, you're done. You're out of the hole. So we got killed. So he's like, I can't believe they did that. That's a trick. They're trying to trick us. I go like, well, the pro's not deliberately putting them back there. They go, I'm going to get them and trick them. You know what I mean? Like, so his perception was they tricked us, and then we were done for the day. That's it. We're done for the day. I go, it's only the third hole. There's 15 left, you know, and who knows what's going to happen, right? So, just like, you know, the birds, the geese, the squirrels, there's too many squirrels on the golf course. The holes are too close together. The maintenance people drive all over the place. I mean, so then he says to me at the end, and he goes, now you know I'm not one to complain. Oh my God. I know you're Mr. Positive. But it's like, it's amazing, right? It's like absolutely no awareness of being negative and complaining. And I'm talking extreme. I mean, when the ducks are bothering you on the golf course, I mean, they're a smart duck. I don't want to hang out on Route 3. I want to be on a golf course, right? But it's amazing. So now, you think about that. So you ever do that? I do that sometimes where I will hear myself, and I'm going, wow, like, why do I have a need? What is it? You ever do that where there is something like, let me go talk to this other person about a complaint. Let me talk about the traffic. Let me talk about I had to wait online. Let me talk about CVS where they want, you know, the name of your firstborn for a Hershey bar. Do you ever do that? Like, so here's another thing of self-awareness. Pay attention to what comes out of your mouth. And just ask yourself, why do I need to say that? You know? So a lot of times, even with golfing, the guy hits the ball and he goes 12 feet by the hole. I hit that too hard. Well, I know. That's why you went 12 feet by the hole. Why do you have to articulate, I hit it too hard? We can see that. So what are the things that come out of your mouth? What are the things that you say? Are you honoring with the people that are in your life? Complimentary, positive, hey, forgiving, we all make mistakes kind of a thing? Or am I hard and critical and quick to complain? I always like that line, like, how's it going? I can't complain. Isn't that, think about that line. It's almost like saying, God darn it. The only thing I can complain about is there's nothing to complain about. So to have this self-awareness. What am I thinking? How am I seeing? And to just slowly, no judgment about it, just notice it. Wow, I noticed I was complaining. I'm noticing I'm being negative. I'm noticing that I'm always worried about something. Now, none of you here worry, right? Think about worry, right? How gosh, we would have so much more free time if we didn't complain and worry, because worry is a waste of time too. What is worry? Like, it would be great if you could say, if I can worry about this future thing for the next hour, it's going to change the outcome down the road. Like, what does worry do? So worry is another thing to be aware of. It's another mind pattern that occurs in our head, and it's repetitive. And so we can become addicted or habituated to worry, to fear, to being negative, and we just keep doing it because we're in the habit of doing it, because we're not. But the breakthrough is, if I notice that I'm doing it, now I'm aware of it. Now, one of the most beautiful, wonderful, powerful things of being human is we can choose. I can choose to be happy. I can choose, if I'm grieving, I'm going to do that, but I can choose how I'm going to look at things. I have that choice, that ability to look at things and to change. So now, again, I've shown you this book. It's not really well read, as you can see. But I love the light. The book of not knowing. There's a lot to not know. We are filled with so much knowing that what we've learned that really has not served us in our life. Okay? So now here's one of the biggest things. I was going to ask you to stand here and say it's a game time, because now that's what it is, game time here. How many of us have learned and have been taught and know that Jesus died on a cross to forgive our sins, or better, and even beyond that, is there's a place to go in hell. You're going to hell. How many people here have heard about there's a place called hell that people go to? Okay, all right. And really, when you think about it, how many of us kind of accepted, well, whoever goes there, too bad for them, but whatever, right? That, yeah, there's a heaven and a hell, and there are a boatload of people that go to hell, right? And when you're in hell, you consciously burn forever. Does it get any worse? Can you imagine being consciously aware? Think about people who were burned at the stake. I don't know how, oh my God. Ouch. I don't know how long it would take, but hopefully they just pass out or die quickly, right? But to be consciously, eternally burned, is that insanity?
Yes.
And we have learned that. We have to unlearn that. There's a place, so if you're good or bad, and God bless all of you, you're all here, and I know that you're all here not because you're afraid of going to hell. You're here because you want to be here, right?
Yes.
That's what you said. Now listen, I want you to know that you don't have to be here. If you don't come here, it's not like you're going to go to hell. And 80% of you, I'm out of here. If that's the case, so I love this. And I know this has been said many times here, but it's huge. The proper understanding of what Jesus meant by the kingdom of heaven is essential to Christian spirituality. So I asked you before, the kingdom of heaven is within you. That's an essential question we have to ask ourselves. Imagine we're all here and Jesus says to us, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Isn't there a little bit of what? Whoa, Jesus, what you just said a mouthful there. The kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven was the central theme of Jesus in his ministry. By the kingdom of heaven, Jesus meant a particular level of consciousness, not a place that Christians are destined to go to after death, but a state of being, a way of seeing, a way of experiencing being alive. Do you hear that? That is so powerful. Because if heaven is like this place I go to, if I'm good or I'm bad, what does that really do for us? You know? If I say, I'm not going to rob the Bank of America because I want to go to heaven, and I don't want to go to hell. But if you're telling me that that's not the case, and then I say, well, then I'm just going to go in there and clip them blind. What? What does that say for the person's heart? It's like, no, I'm not gonna go rob from the Bank of America. I'm not gonna steal. I'm not gonna be unkind. I'm not gonna be jealous. I'm not gonna be mean. If for no other reason is that I want to have the consciousness of Jesus Christ. And then all those things follow. Those are, it's like a piece of cake. Now I wake up every day and I want to live in this state of being. In the second reading today we think about sin. You know, you wonder if sin is like another way of, it's a state of being. It's a way of thinking. It's it's being self-absorbed. What is in it for me? I want this, I want that. If people aren't being and acting the way I want them to, I'm going to get angry. If things don't go the way I want to, I'm going to get angry. If someone puts the T markers further back, they're trying to trick me deliberately. So I'm going to have like almost like a paranoia, like I don't trust anybody. People are mean and all that. Where what Jesus was saying is for each one of us here, in essence, to see that we are all one. We are brothers and sisters, family, however we want to look at it. In the best sense of the term, brothers and sisters and family. All the same essence of the living God. And we're called to this higher level of seeing. Jesus saw human beings and tried to tell them, you are a spiritual, eternal being. Again, we're already in eternal life. And what's amazing is that when he talks about this, lose yourself, find yourself. So that if we're enveloped in self, hey, I'm first, I do this, it's my bat, it's my ball. If I don't get what I want, I'm going home. He says, no. If you lose yourself, you find yourself. And what's amazing is the more you have self-awareness, the more you're aware of the way you're thinking and feeling, the more you are aware of other people. If you're not aware of yourself, you're not aware of others. If you're not aware of what you're thinking and feeling, you're not going to really be aware and concern yourself with the thoughts and feelings of others. So self-awareness creates awareness of others, and being aware of others and caring about other people is called empathy. And you could say that the quality of your life as a human being is directly related for your capacity for empathy. To care genuinely about the other person. And isn't it interesting? Your ability to do that is directly related to your ability to be self-aware. So pay attention to what you're thinking, paying attention to what you're feeling. Notice that. Start where we're living our life from the inside out, not the outside in. And in the words of Dave Pagoris, children, ourselves, we never were meant to be vessels to be poured into. We're all candles looking to be lit by Jesus Christ.